Hello everyone, it's Marius Martin, 4th grade writing CTO, and I'm back again with the Unit 3 preview. To begin, I think it's beneficial to go over the agenda for the video. The first thing I'm going to discuss is some important dates that are coming up in Unit 3 as well as moving toward January, the scope and sequence, the unit at a glance, really looking at the big picture, Unit 3 assessment, some updates to the resource page, office hours, and then finally questions. If you have any questions for me, how you can reach me. As for upcoming dates, I went ahead and highlighted some dates for Unit 3 as well as moving toward the next collaboration day in January. Unit 2 officially ends on November the 3rd with Unit 3 starting on November 6th. You already know this, I'm sure, but Thanksgiving break is from November 20th into 26th, so there'll be no lessons planned for that time. Unit 3 officially ends December 15th. And the CA2 window officially opens on December 11th. I suggest talking with your campus leadership, just making sure you can move those tests to the beginning of the unit, just to allow yourself a little bit more time to grade those constructive responses before we go on winter break, which starts on December 23rd and ends on January 7th. And last but not least, Collaboration Day 2 is on January 18th. Now moving on to the scope and sequence. As always, a soft copy of this document is located on the 4th grade Blackboard course under Curricular Resources, and then under the section Course Vision and Supporting Documents. In this video, I only have time to highlight a few key elements, so I highly suggest that you take the time to thoroughly review the document in its entirety as you plan for the unit. As you can see here, Unit 3 will be taught over 3 weeks, including 25 instructional days and 4 flex days. In my unit at a glance, which you will see shortly, I've outlined how to use the instructional days. The flex days, however, can be used at your own discretion. After reflecting on network data and really listening to a lot of feedback from our collaboration day, I plan to use these days for writing conferences as well as grammar review. Moving on to the unit at a glance for Unit 3. As a reminder, this document is also located in the 4th grade writing folder under Unit and Lesson Plans, and then that first folder, Unit at a Glance and Unit Previews. As with Unit 2, we will continue to spend the majority of the unit focusing on expository writing. However, for the first week of the unit, we're going to do a quick switch and focus on poetry. The rationale for this brief switch is to give scholars a bit of a break, one, from expository, and to allow them to be exposed to different types of writing. Seeing that I've only planned in 1 week to focus on the poetry teaks, we will only get a chance to scratch the surface, but don't worry, we will revisit poetry later in the year. Since we have such limited time, my suggestion is to focus on figurative language. From the past, I've seen how really understanding and using figurative language can help scholars add authentic voice to their writing, especially with expository writing, because it can have a tendency to be quite formulaic. I plan to make the anchor chart given above here and display it in my classroom and use it as a reference point throughout the school year. At the end of Unit 2, you've seen that I planned a 2-day expository essay assessment. So for Unit 3, we'll be assessing grammar. When making this assessment, I was very intentional to pick out teaks that highlighted the unit at a glance, as well as things that would prepare them for Common Assessment 2. I would highly recommend taking this assessment and using the data as a checkpoint in your classroom. This will be a very good way to see your scholars' readiness for Common Assessment 2. Please also take a few minutes as you prepare for the unit to look over the updated resource page. It is located on the Blackboard website in 4th grade. I've added a lot of new material since we last met that you can use with your scholars. Shown above is one of the greatest things I've put on there, which is the conferring question stems for expository essays. These questions were created by my fellow writing planners across the network at Collaboration Day. I simply compiled them into this easy to use template. At the very top of each column, I've labeled the questions so you can see examples of which questions to ask scholars falling in a different range. For example, if you have a scholar whose organization is currently at a level 1 and you would like to move him or her to a level 2, you would look at that first column headed level 1 moving to level 2, and then all those question stems would be used to help push that scholar's thinking to move toward a level 2. Consequently, if you have a scholar who's level 2, moving to level 3, you just move across the columns as been described. As with all my resources, I hope this will be a truly collaborative document. So if you'd like to add any questions, Zims, or you have anything you want me to take out, please, please, please email me and I'll update it and then send out some correspondence letting everybody know that it's been updated. After reviewing feedback from my fellow writing planners at Collaboration Day, I've decided to keep office hours the same. They're going to be on Thursdays from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. I know this time does not accommodate everyone, but I went with the majority, and this is when the majority of people were available. Additionally, I've received really, really good feedback about what topics we would like discussed. I've included the graphic from my survey detailing the most requested office hours topics. As you can see, more people are interested in discussing grammar and lesson planning. So consequently, I've allotted time for this unit to really spend discussing those two elements of the writing process. So for the next few office hours, be on the lookout for grammar and lesson planning type ideas. I know that was quick and fast, and I've presented a lot of information. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is listed here below, mamartin@uplifteducation.org. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.